Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2012. I hope your celebrations for the last couple weeks have been wonderful and blessed. Whether it's Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, a solstice around here, or anything else that you've been celebrating, I hope you've had a good time with family and friends. And we begin our 2012 year with strange weather throughout a lot of the Northeast. Here on the coast in New England, we haven't seen any snow, a few flurries. In October, we had that really crazy snowstorm out in Western Mass, or west of the suburbs. But so far, we've not had much. So for us, it's been wonderful. As a matter of fact, it was 51 degrees today on the Cape yesterday, and I was out doing yard work. Strange as that seems, it was a beautiful day. So I hope you've had a great celebration and you're all doing well. And let's get on with our predictions for the year 2012. If you'd like to recap 2011, you can go back to my predictions in January of last year and see just how much of that was close to coming true and how things head on. Here we go with 2012. Let's talk politics. Let's talk about what's going on in the government. We have a year of elections this year, and it is my predictions that Barack Obama will be reelected as president. We know what he's like and what he can do. The GOP is having a lot of trouble with infighting and discovering that men will be men. Watching what happens with affairs and sexual harassment and things, it's coming out in the open. It seems that the GOP voters can't even decide who they want to be their president in these different states, as the polls show us. But then again, we have to look at the polls, see who's running them, and see just exactly what they want to report. Don't take the news as 100% true. Take a look at that, look at different sources, do your own research, and come up with your own ideas. So my prediction for the general election, unless something strange weirdo happens, my guides are telling me that Barack Obama will be reelected. It's going to be a pretty crazy ride to get there, and some most bizarre things will be happening, but he will eventually be reelected. Let's talk about the economy. It's a big question, as I predicted last year. Although the economists were saying there would be a noticeable improvement, there has been none. And as I predicted, there wasn't going to be any. And there hasn't been. And we are still going to be in that mode. Although, once again, I do see a little tiny gradual improvement that won't be reported by the economists because they go by a formula that's supposed to be proven over time. So just remember this. Be careful. If you come across a deal that sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. It's a scam. This is a year when the scams are going to be out there like you would not believe. Buy this, we'll give you that. You see it on TV all the time. Buy one, we'll give you two, free. Second one's free. All you have to do is pay shipping and handling. Folks, think about shipping and handling. The U.S. Postal Service can ship almost anything for $5 to $9. Come on, think about it. And the products you see on TV fit in those boxes. So the scam is paying extra shipping and handling for those TV ads. So be very careful of deals that you think are good, whether they're small products or big things. Investigate, look at it. If it sounds perfect, it's not. It is a scam, and you are going to be the one who pays the price. So be careful in your day-to-day workings, your day-to-day purchases, and your big purchases, cars, real estate, homes, boats, whatever it is you want to purchase. Be very, very careful. Take the time to investigate the deal. And I think for most of you, you find out that really good deal is not that great. But this is a year of scams. People are going to do whatever they can to get money. And again, watch out for those TV things. We'll take care of your debt for you. Just give us a call. Let me tell you about those debt relief agencies. They charge you a fee anywhere from $500 to $1,000, and they take it out of your checking account first. Then what they do is they arrange with your creditors, well, usually credit card companies, to pay 50%, and then the government does insure credit card companies to pay 50% of their loss. You can do this all by yourself. You can call your credit card companies and say, "Look, I closed the card down. I can't pay it. Is there something we can do?" They'd be very happy to take 50% of the balance of what's there. Ask them to knock off the late fees and charges that has been accumulating in the interest and go back to the original debt before they started sending it out to collection agencies. The credit card companies will work from you. They want to recover 50% of their losses because the federal government has guaranteed them 50% of the loss too. That gives them the 100%. Say your credit cards are $2,000. If you can get them to agree to allow you to pay $1,000 back over time, say 2 or 3 years, with a small interest rate, then they will recoup the other balance, the other 50% from the federal government. So forget those debt relief agencies or whatever they call themselves online. They're there to take your money. They want to make a profit. It's not a scam. It isn't legal dealing, but it's just shady and not good. Because if they do this for you, they're going to take money up front. Then they're going to charge you a monthly fee to go ahead and collect your money and send it on to the different creditors. Why should you pay all that extra money out when you can do it all yourself? So if you have credit card debt that you can't handle, stop using the cards, shut them down if you haven't yet, cut them up, throw them away. Write your numbers and information down, call the company and tell them you want to step into a settlement of 50%. Sometimes they won't go less than 60, but it's better than the whole amount. You're not paying a company, a third party, to do the work for you. You're saving all that money yourself, and you can pay your fees off. Now, here's the deal. Don't ever get another credit card again. If you have a debit card, checking account, use your debit card, and you can build your own credit that way. If you have a house, you're all set. If you don't, credit cards just are not a good deal. They are charging you approximately $18 for every 100 that you spend. They tell you they start you out at 0% or 9%, but if you are 1 second late in the payment, they jack you right up to the 18 to 25% rate. No dealing, nothing. Absolutely no consideration. You've broken the deal, so there you go. Get rid of those credit cards. If you have a couple and some company comes along and says, we'll give you 0% interest on your transferred balances for 6 months, do that. And when you make your payments, if you're going to pay something extra, make sure you write down extra balance to go to principal. They will not just do it automatically. They will not. You need to tell them what to do with your money. If you send them $40 and the payment's 25, they're going to take that 15 and apply it to interest, and the interest is their profit. So when you make your credit card payments, your mortgage payments, whatever your timed payments are, and you want to pay extra, make sure you write on your payment slip and on your check, apply $20 extra to principal. Otherwise, they get to put it in their own pocket. I hope you've already known this. If not, there you go. There's some information for you. The economy is not going to improve all the way things are predicted. It is never going to go back to the way it was in the 80s and 90s. It is always going to be struggling from now on. We will hit a new norm again in a couple more years. In the meantime, dear Americans, dear friends, those of you who tune in, who have been following me, I thank you so much. For those of you that are new, use common sense. The message today is to get back to basics and to use your common sense. Don't buy things if you don't have the cash. I do not have credit cards. If I can't afford to buy something with the money in my checking account, I don't buy it. So what do you need credit for? If you need one card to build credit so you can buy a car or something, that's one thing, but you don't need 3 or 4 or 5 credit cards. If you are incredibly wealthy, make your payments on time. That's all there is to it. I hear from so many different mortgage writers, the problems with the wealthy is they figure they've got all the money in the world, and some of them just don't bother to make their payments on time, so their credit ratings are very poor. If you don't need a credit card, if you don't have the cash to pay for your shopping trip to the mall, don't go. This is basic common sense. If you don't have the cash, don't buy it. You don't need 10 bags or 45 pairs of shoes. Make sure you have what you need to survive. Good quality clothes. I'm not telling you to go buy, secondhand all the time. But go buy what you need, buy what you can afford. Do your budget every month, and then with what is left over, that's what you can afford. And you all should have a nest egg. So if the furnace breaks, if the pipes break, if your car needs a new battery, you should definitely have a nest egg. Remember how I told you last time? Go ahead and put a little cookie jar safe in your closet or in your wherever, and keep your cash in there and build up your emergency fund. You should always have 2 or 3 grand if possible in your emergency fund. If not, put $20 away a week and let it build itself. That's $20 you don't spend on extra fun food, or if you smoke or drink, it's not spent on cigarettes or alcohol. Nobody's going to be there to bail you out because we're all in the same boat these days. So let's use some basic common sense. Back to basics. Here's an example. Why do you need to buy name brand paper towels? Because they're pretty. I was in the store the other day. I was picking up some acetaminophen, which is the generic name for Tylenol. And there was a woman next to me, and I grabbed the generic stuff on the pharmacy shelf. And she kind of looked at me. I said, "Let me show you something." And I showed her the name brand on the shelf, the Tylenol brand, and It was exactly, everything was exactly the same. The dosage, the amount of capsules in there, the packaging, and the name brand was $3 more than the generic store brand. And she looked at me and I said, that's money in their pocket. That doesn't help you and it doesn't help me. All it does is put money in the pocket of the private industry. And that's what we get to do in this country. We get to make money. It's not false advertising or anything. It's just, it's the way we do things. So she looked at me and I said, it might behoove you. It might be good for you to stop and read labels from now on and save money here and there. Yes, it's a $3 savings. But if you save $3 on that and you save $1.50 on your laundry soap and you save, 50 cents on your foil for your turkey or whatever it is, it builds up. I challenge all of you, and my students in the college where I am a professor will tell you, when they hear the words I challenge you, they moan because they know a challenge is coming. I challenge all of you to do some comparison shopping over the next month. Keep track of it, keep a journal or a notebook. Bought this instead of this. The next time you go off to your Piggly Wiggly or your Stop and Shop or your Kroger or whatever store it is you go off to Whole Foods, check out the prices on the name brand products and the generic or the store brand products and see just how much money you might save. Coupons are incredible. My daughter's been doing a lot of couponing for the last 2 months. On average, she saves $70 a grocery trip. There are little ones in her family and older kids, so there's diapers and there's snacks and there's things for the older ones. She saves on average because she goes online to the coupon printers and gets her coupons, watches her shopping, takes her time, and does not take little ones with her when she shops. If you can pull that one off, go right ahead. You're much better in being able to concentrate on your shopping. And she uses the store coupons, buy one, get one free. She usually has manufacturer coupons for the same products. Take time, do your planning. Back to basics, my friends. Back to basics. Let's get back to basics. That doesn't mean you keep your heat at 58. Keep your heat at 64. Put on a couple sweatshirts and a pair of warm, fuzzy socks. Wear your slippers. We don't want to keep our heat low because it takes longer to heat the building and it is dangerous for our pipes. So for those of you who do not have conventional heating, whether it's natural gas, propane, or oil, or electric, who heat with a wood stove or a pellet stove, remember, you need to keep that thing burning 24/7. When you go off for the day, bank, when you get up in the morning, get a fire going and bank the embers. So when you get home 8 or 10 hours later, you have the hot coals you need and you can get it going through the night. It takes a while to heat up a structure. Once you get the actual wood that the structure is made out of heated, then the air in the structure stays warm. So let's get back to basics, all right? As far as people go this year, the Royals, I do see a pregnancy somewhere in the latter half of the year. That doesn't mean a birth, it means a pregnancy will be announced, and we'll see what happens with that. Um, I don't really see anything too outrageous going on. We are going to see some more upsets in the political field with more politicians, as in the Kane place, not McCann, but Kane. And as far as that goes, it is the nature of the male mammal, of the male beast, the men, or the male of the species, to propagate as much as they can to continue the species. However, for those of us who have morals and judgment and live in a religious way, which is many of us, it's not okay to be stepping out and doing your thing, and it's even worse to be lying about it. As I told my children when they were growing up, and now my grandchildren hear me, the worst thing you can do for me, the worst thing you can do is to lie to me. Lying is the worst. Stealing is right there next to it, but lying is the worst because you are lying to me. You're being dishonest in our relationship, and you are being dishonest in your soul, and it really feels yucky. So lying is a big deal. So watch and see what other political stuff comes out. Just because one came out doesn't mean that there aren't a lot more. There are. It is the nature of our beast, of being a mammal, to have the need to propagate to continue the species. Again, having said that, we are a higher species who do live with morals and our own spiritual rules. So there you go. You can figure it out from there. Now, this is a year of change. A lot of things will change this year. And I don't mean big, huge things will change. I mean, a lot of things will change for people this year. Personal change is coming for everyone this year. If you are open to change, then it will come to you. Again, during this time of the winter, during our solstice, we let go of the old and we welcome the new ideas and seeds of information into our own spirit. So watch for this year of change. Be open to changes and see what happens in your own life. And sometimes they can be emotionally um, painful. And we do need to go through some of these painful things to continue walking our path, to be able to grow in our spirituality, so that when we do cross over into the beautiful light, we have accomplished some of those lessons we set out to when we came down into the body. And at this point, I'd like to give a shout out to Charlotte, North Carolina, and tell you, hey, thank you so much for your email. I do appreciate the thoughts and questions. I did send it back to you today. Sorry for the delay. As always, it's been a hectic holiday. Please, folks, continue to send your emails. I do so appreciate them, and it's good to know that I'm reaching out and touching people. Let me know how things go for you. I'd like some response and some feedback from everybody on what's going on. As far as the weather goes, that's a big question from a number of people across the South this past couple of months. We are having those rare December tornadoes, which are pretty bizarre, but they do happen. Here in New England, we've only had a few days of bitter cold. We've had relatively no snow along the seaboard. However, in inland New England in the Northeast, along the path of Hurricane Irene, we have had winter storms already, and there's been winter snows. You're going to have a pretty regular nor'easter kind of winter this winter in the inland in New England. On the coast, we're going to have our snow every once and again. We are going to have a whopper of a storm. There's going to be one big storm this year. I do see it, and they're not telling me January or February, so I'm so sorry, everyone. But we should all be ready, and our emergency kits should be ready to go. I've talked to you about those before, not just for hurricane season or tornado season, but right through the year, 12 months out of 12 months. Make sure your emergency kits are ready. If you're not sure what those are, you can go on to American Red Cross and look under emergency preparedness, and they will give you a list of things that you might want to consider putting in your like the Rubbermaid bins or generic bin, doesn't really matter. I don't support one way or the other, but those big plastic bins that will keep things dry if you have flooding. Weather across the U.S. Here we go. Are you ready? Okay, I already talked about New England. Again, as I said earlier in late 2011, ice storms are coming in south of the Mason-Dixon line. And how many of you really know where the Mason-Dixon line is? Email me and tell me where you think it is. It's pretty interesting to find out where the Mason-Dixon line is. But there are going to be a number of ice storms, and there are going to be a couple of big ones in that area close together. So for those of you in just south of the Mason-Dixon line, from the Carolinas, Kentucky, Tennessee, the Virginias, West Virginia. Hey, West V, how you doing? Up to the Mason-Dixon line, D.C., not so much on J. Watch those areas, maybe a little bit into Alabama, but you're going to have some nasty ice storms. It is going to be colder than usual in the south. Again, we're going to have a cold sweep go down through there, down into deep Florida. So for anybody down there, like my pals in Miami, you might need to wear a jacket sometime in the next 6 weeks. I don't see any flakes your way, more than the usual ones that walk around on 2 feet. But for those of you, my dear beloved, hey, dude, it's going to get a little chilly a few times, so be careful, all right? And hey to you, hey, dude. So, friends, we go into Texas, where they've had considerable problems with drought. And then there's been quite a bit of snow out in the plains and such. It's going to continue on. We're going to have just another bounce or two of high abnormal temperatures and down into low. Then we're going to get into winter. I see us getting into a regular winter for maybe 5 to 6 weeks before the thaws come and we start to slowly come out of it. So for those of you along the plains and the breadbasket of America, yes, you're going to see continued more winter. You did have a bit of a blizzard out that way not too long ago. But you are going to have a regular, good old-fashioned winter out there. So keep an eye on what's going on. Texas, I am so sorry. You're going to continue in the drought state that you're in for a while. You will get flash rains that might happen from time to time. But there is something else going on under the earth in Texas. Don't be surprised if there's an earthquake or two out there, light that they may be, that you feel over the next 12 months. And for those of you in the Rockies, from north to south, it's Rockies. It's mountain weather. True and true mountain weather through and through. You're going to need your chains. You're going to have lots of snows late in the season. Excellent skiing. Enjoy that fresh powder because that's going to be so lovely. And something that's happening in New Mexico that doesn't happen a lot is a lot of snow in the mountains. That's going to keep up this year. So all you people down there who have your ski lodges and your ski runs in the mountains in along the southern part of the Rockies, it's going to be gorgeous for snow this year. No problem with snow. Cold's going to be another problem. So be very careful out there. Public services. It's going to be a lot of cold out there, and there might be some people who need your help. Along the western seaboard, yes, you're in for a number of earthquakes this year, all the way from British Vancouver, British Columbia, all the way down through the Baja California area. You are going to see a number of rock and roll earthquakes. The big one, I really don't see coming, but that's not the one I'd be worried about. I'd be worried about the continual small ones that keep showing up. It means that underneath Mother Earth, deep inside, there's some rumbling going on and changes taking place. So make sure your emergency kits are ready. And for the areas that usually don't get a lot of earthquake activity, go check out your emergency kits and where you should go and what you should do in case of these earthquakes. Again, in British Columbia, Vancouver, those are the names of the areas I'm getting up there in the Canadian way. The Canada way. Hey to all you Canadians, nice to see you up there. Yeah, you got great snow in the ski areas, but you are going to be feeling earthquakes this year more than you've ever felt before. And if you haven't ever had one, then one or two is more. So that's what I'm talking to you about today. And I do see flooding again, not as bad as last year with the Mississippi. And for those of you who say, well, I didn't predict the bad floods on the Mississippi, it is a given that the Mississippi Delta is going to flood very significantly and severely year after year after year. That is what that area does. It floods. And I'm so sorry for those of you that have lost family, friends, even more so your property and your livestock in that area. It is a sad thing, and I'm very sorry for that. You may want to consider moving just a little bit to the east or west out of that floodplain, if at all possible. Usually it's not. We just can't pack up and go. Our lives don't allow us to do that. So do what you need to do. Get your homes up on stilts if possible, and take care of what you can. And I will send you much energy and many prayers to all of you for the season of weather we're having. Again, we are going to get hit with tornadoes. Like last year. They're telling me similar to last year. Again, 5 major cities are going to get hit this time, like Raleigh and Tuscaloosa and Joplin got hit last year. 5 major cities will get hit by major tornadoes, category high 2s to 5s. So please, people, when you see the sky getting dark down there in the south and even as far north as the Pennsylvania area, don't stand there and watch. Get into cover. If you don't have a basement or a cellar, go find someone who does, or get into that little tiny room in the middle of your house if you can. But please don't pretend you're a storm chaser. Most people are professionals and know exactly what they're doing. Please take cover and be safe. Be safe. Be safe. Those are my predictions for now. Again, this is a year of change. Please be careful of the scams that are going on out there. Don't believe the stuff you see. Those TV specials, please don't go get into those. Take care of yourself, watch your monies, don't spend what you don't have. And again, if you'd like to contact me, it's klconrad at comcast.net, klconrad at comcast.net. You can subscribe to my channel, klconrad1, here on YouTube, and send emails that way too. So there's a bit of predictions for the year. I wish you all a blessed 2012. Thanks again for checking in with me. And I will most likely do the next reading of my book in just a little while today. So keep in touch. I believe we're on chapter 3, but I'll have to double check since I keep saying the wrong chapters. Bear with me. A blessed and wonderful 2012 to all of you.